young, dynamic which is behind the scenes, and we have Frederick Noronha, reputed journalist who has so much of networking skills that he uses for Goa's benefit. And together we have something called Greens for Goa. Greens for Goa is a youth initiative, and this is one of our initiatives, which is called Cafe Tinto. Cafe Tinto is about coming together online. So we're going to meet like this once a month online, where we discuss issues that concern Goa, and it's by the youth, for the youth, with the youth. Uh, that is it about this initiative. And we have with us currently, we have Clive, Lynn, and Anish. So we could start with Clive. So Clive, what I would like you to do is a little introduction about who you are, what you do, what you do, what are your points that you have listed out for Goa, and why?
For Goa. I'll leave that for the youth, but I'll tell you a little bit about myself, since I'll said. And I've been living overseas for most of my life, the last 20 of which have been in the Middle East, and I've been working in the field of shipping and logistics. So a year ago, I returned to Goa. I decided that's where I wanted to live, and that's when I started discovering what Goa is all about, roaming around in the villages, and I started basically a page writing about my village, and the intent is to basically protect, preserve, share the information about Goa's art, history, and culture. From time to time, I volunteer at the Museum of Christian Art in Old Goa, right? And now I'm on a journey to basically visit every village in Goa. So I've joined today obviously because I know Shamika. I think it's interesting to do something for the youth, and I'm happy to share maybe some time, information, and assistance wherever I can.
Thank you, Clive. And since you do so much, we'd still like to hear your ideas about what would you like for future sessions, because I am going to be asking non-youths this as well. While we have a youth who's going to tell us today, but also you, since you've been here for a year now in
Yep.
Goa,
Sure, yeah.
and you're pretty active with Goan culture, preserving it, as you mentioned. So, what do you think? Just when you think of your hat, what are the things that come to your mind regarding topics that you would like discussed in future Cafe Tinto sessions?
Okay. I think, I mean, from my perspective, my parents lived their entire life outside Goa. And the
Correct.
reason was because we felt there was no opportunity or not enough opportunity to live in Goa, right? And having now traveled the world and come back, I believe there is opportunity. And maybe that's something we could discuss with the youth, that you don't need to leave and go away. It
Correct.
should be within your niche today, some way that you can actually be successful whilst living in Goa and operating from here. And that
All
could
right.
be an online based business, that could be in the video editing space, could be in the writing space, right? Different industries.
Great. Thank you, Clive. And we will take up your very kind offer of continuing to help us, because post this meeting, we will create a WhatsApp group where these youth of today become our founding youth for future sessions. All right. Thank you, Clive. Over to Anish. Anish, could we have your points of view about who you are? What do you do? And as you said, Anish, your mic is not working. So, yes, you've already got it ready. Great. Let me see. I'll be reading it out. Anish's mic is not working. And he says, I'm Anish, living in Mumbai, originally from Raya, South Goa. I work as a senior content editor at Pepper Content. I've also written for several reputable publications like Heraldo, The Goan, Asia Times, and much more. So, thank you, Anish, for introducing yourself. And what are the topics you think you would like discussed for future sessions? So while Anish is typing, okay, conservation of Goa's heritage. That's point number one. I guess we just have to wait till the points come. So conservation of Goa's heritage. So I'm actually copying down whatever y'all are writing or saying, and we'll review it towards the end of the meeting. Is that it? All right, Anish, here's what I recommend. As you type out your list of topics, maybe we could have Lynn introduce herself. Hi, Lynn. If you could put your video on, introduce yourself, and also tell us which topics have you thought of and why.
Okay, just give me a minute. I just got home.
All
I'm
right, sure.
unable to put on the camera for a moment, okay?
All right.
But I will just introduce myself.
Yes.
So, my name is Lynn. Hi, everyone. My name is Lynn. I'm from Saligaon, originally from Raya, South Goa. But I would say that thank you so much, first of all, Shamika, for doing this because I've always wanted to be a part of a group like this. Thinking about things about Goa and for Goa, and so I have graduated and done my post graduation in English literature, but at the same time, during my free time, and I I sing in the church choir and also we basically our group is involved into a lot of music and we go and we sing for different events and participate in various competitions as well. So I would say I'm oriented in the musical field, but I love doing things which are also like have a lot of creativity and involved in the arts basically. So one of the things that I think we could as youth, also build in Goa is the music scene because I'm very passionate about the father and also the Konkani music now. Like lately, I've gotten into learning a lot of mandos and I see there's a lot of Goan culture brought out through these mandos. People do not actually pay attention to the words that are mentioned in these mandos or even the Konkani songs. And just recently, actually, uh, a couple of my friends we were invited to perform at the prison ministry conference, National Prison Ministry conference at the Spiritual Renewal Center at Old Goa, somewhere there, and we just put together a couple of Konkani songs and Konkani numbers. But while we were learning these words, because we have heard these songs right since the time we've been growing up, but learning
Correct.
these words, we actually realized how much of the dialect, different parts of Goa, you come to know from which part of Goa these songs are written, and also you learn a lot about the culture that is um, what is happening at the time of a wedding, and also uh, basically the class system, that is the rich, what are they like doing during a wedding, or what is someone who's going to prepare for a wedding, for a rose ceremony or something like that. So we had just put together a couple of songs and we came to know that uh, you get a lot of Goan culture through these songs as well. So that is one point, and also like I mentioned, like the father, music. How I think a few years back, a few months back, Sonia Sirsat had a session on father music, but I was unable to attend that. But I really am keen to learn more about that style of singing as well. So maybe something in the music or that field, I would say, pertaining to Goa.
All right. That's interesting. And of course, because I've heard it and I've seen you sing also. So, very much so. Thank you. I've noted that down. Thank you
Okay.
for that, Lynn. And thank you for joining us. Um, is that it, Lynn? Is there anything else you would like to add?
For now, yeah, that's it. I haven't listed down any other points, so
All
yeah.
right. You can always get in touch for sure. Jade, hi. Thank you for joining us, Jade. And maybe we
Hello,
could
and
have
can
you
you hear
next.
me?
Hi. Yes. We can hear you very well, and putting your video on is optional. But if you can speak, that's great. Yeah, we can see you too. So, if you could present yourself, Jay, tell us something more about you, about the topics you would like discussed. I know you sent me some on WhatsApp. So, if you could talk about it some more and why you chose them. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. So I'm Jade. I'm currently a first year law student. I just moved to Delhi a few months back. Uh, I'm currently back in Goa because of my winter break. I'm from Panjim. I've lived here like my whole life. So something that I have encountered, especially in the last few years, trying to like step into the world, like trying to figure out what I want to do with my higher education was the lack of like quality higher education within the country, especially any nationally recognized institution
Jade is breaking up for me.
immediate
Can you all hear
future
her as well?
thinking that
Oh,
provides exposure to students. So that's why I moved
can you all hear Jade properly? Because it's breaking up for me. Is it
is
fine?
that
Jade's
there
voice is
is sort of
breaking.
a problem within the state because again most of them have moved to bigger cities to pursue their higher education.
Yes. Jade, you could put your video off because we can't hear you
I'm
too
really
well.
sorry. My internet was
Yeah, put
bad.
your video off. Yeah, perfect. So I
Otherwise,
heard that you put.
I can just send my
No, we
points
can
in
hear
the
you.
chat
We can hear
box
you
because
great.
my
We can hear
internet is
you.
very
We can hear you well. And please continue. So you were talking about higher education. About. Please continue.
yeah, I think like obviously like higher education is something that's a very big realm, but I feel like that's something that definitely like the state lacks for sure because I think there are many people who are forced to leave out of no choice because there is like if you have to stay here, like you have to settle for something that's much less than something that might end up challenging you or something that might give you a different perspective. So in the same vein, I feel like something that's also lacking, something that I experienced like preparing for like law entrances and everything, was that beyond JE and NEET coaching there are barely any reputed centers which help students prepare for these national exams, like in law, which I went through, of course, and then I saw my friends who wanted to get into like business programs as well struggling. Like we had to manage all of that on our own because there are no like the resources, there's like a severe resource shortage here, and I think that denies a lot of people the opportunity to bring Goan bread intellect to a national platform, and that's solely due to a locational disadvantage. I don't think it's anything else beyond the fact that you live in a city where these facilities are not available. There's also like a severe lack of guidance and gatekeeping of valuable information which can help people discover careers that align with their interests, and that prevents young people from making an informed choice. So you might end up just doing something that you aren't really passionate about without really taking time to understand what your interests are. And also, like, in addition to that, this whole thing about adequate resources and coaching to make sure that people that there is some representation of Goans national institutions, in national, whether it's engineering, law, medical, like it's not, I feel like it's not the norm to have goans in these institutions, it's the exception. And I think something should be done to change that. I think there needs to be better representation of people from Goa, people who have been born and brought up and schooled in Goa in these institutions. And I feel like not just limited to Goa but like all over the world there's been a resurgence in, like, this is like specifically a very like youth centric problem, is the resurgence in like nicotine addiction. So I think especially in college culture, which is something that I've experienced over the past few months as well, is the normalization of vaping and the culture around substance abuse. It's faced a new impetus and it threatens to harm the health of an entirely new generation. And keep in mind that, again, like, the air quality in most areas is not that great anymore. So, in addition to that major health hazard, there's this happening in tandem. And also, in addition to this, the environment implications of battery powered vapes, and their lack of recyclability makes them highly wasteful. And again, that's another way in which the environment is being harmed. So that's not just, I feel like that, of course, that does exist in like Goan colleges and institutions as well, but it's also something that does have like worldwide applicability.
Thank you, Jay. That was amazing. That was detailed and very interesting. These are topics that I didn't even think of. So before this meeting, I listed out things, but I knew that the youth would have more things, more valid current affairs. So thank you, Jay, for that. I've listed it all down, and we will be having sessions on these topics in the future, and you will be part of this. All the best for whatever you're currently doing. Do I see any other youth with us right now? I see Clive, who's spoken, Jade, Lynn, Basil, who is a youth, Basil and Judy. And then I see Clive has raised his hand. All right, yes, Clive?
I just put one point in the chat. I don't know whether you saw it.
I didn't see
And
it, no.
thought it might be a good.
Basic introduction on financial planning for youth. That's interesting. Now tell me, why do you say that?
Yeah, I think it's something that's probably not taught in school. Something
No.
that's fundamental to how you grow up and how you will live. And maybe that's something to do a workshop on. Get an expert to maybe talk about that a little bit.
And in fact, when I look back, I had to learn financial planning on my own
Yeah.
by talking to people. So I think you're right. This would really help. Great. Thanks, Clive, for that. And as all of you over here, what we can do is you can keep sending more ideas. We're going to keep this month of December for getting more ideas from different youth. So Blaze and Judy, if you all could please get your youth involved. And Lynn says yes, she seconds your idea. I have not discussed Anish's second idea. He said learning more about old Goan traditions. So I think it's something similar to what Lynn said, where she spoke about music, while Anish talks about it more in general. Great. So we have 10 points for now. Frederick and Father Nigel, over to y'all. Please do have a word about what you would like to be discussed, what you would add in also to this conversation.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I just come in very briefly because I'm come here to listen. As you know, I'm grossly overage, and yeah, just one or two points. When in our youth in the 70s, 80s, we were beneficiaries of other youth movements, and it made a big difference to our lives. Not just from a religious point of view, but from a secular worldly point of view. I think today anyone who's anything in Goa today, in media, in activism, in feminism, and a lot of fields come from this group called the ICAF, All India Catholic University Federation. So, I'm very keen to understand what how youth see it, and we are obviously out of touch with the younger people, and we need to hear from them. So basically that. Yes.
All right. Thank you. And Father Nigel, how about you? Since you
Yes,
deal
thank
a
you,
lot with
Shamika. Yes, thank you, Shamika, and thank you everyone for joining this program this evening. Shamika, of course, has been doing a lot of work, groundwork, especially with regard to how we're going to go about this whole idea of presenting topics that are relevant for youngsters today. And listening to all of you speak and listening to some of the topics that have come up, I think they're really interesting, especially because in the context of Goa, there are a lot of areas that can be covered. There are a lot of things that can be discussed, as well as certain areas that concern youth specifically. And when we were thinking about this whole idea and how we could have discussions or programs related to certain topics, we thought the best idea would be to get youth themselves, to speak up, to give ideas and to contribute themselves on their own, and that would be more relevant to them because it's basically what they would like to discuss, what they would benefit from. And I think listening to the first part of this session, I think everything's heading in the right direction. And I myself was surprised by the variety of ideas, topics, and areas of areas where we could cover. We could get experts to to come and speak, as some of you suggested. This is heading in the right direction, and it's something very nice, very novel, as well as something which will definitely benefit our young
Thank you, Father Nigel. Father Nigel, is there anything, because I still consider you youth, from age groups 15 to 35 is what I'm looking at calling youth. And what do you think, Father, when you look back at your childhood, at your teenage years? What do you think was something that would benefit you, would benefit your friends would?
Yeah, I see. The thing is, most of my, most of the years, the last, basically last 14, 15 years, I've been out of Goa. And so
All
the
right.
context has been, more in line with, studies and society at large. But coming back to Goa in the last, 2, 3 years, it's been a different environment altogether. Seeing, been experiencing life outside the state as well as within the context of Goa, and some of the things that we see here with regard to the job opportunities,
Yes.
with regard to the infrastructure development, and as well as the whole idea with regard to job, uh, the opportunities that are created for youngsters for staying or wanting to stay back in Goa. I think that is one of the major areas why we have so many youngsters moving out of the state. And yeah, I think a forum like this, basically what we would do as being a part of the church, would discuss more on topics related to moral issues, ethics, and ideas, thoughts on those lines. But this is something very different. This is a nice forum or platform to address issues that concern, not merely that side of life, but also the context in which we are living. The state of Goa, and I think the the contribution from the youngsters as to what they would like to discuss with regard to their own state or their own place, like could be is something very nice, something very novel to talk about.
All right, I've listed that down. And as you were talking, Father, I realized I've not spoken. So, as Frederick knows, I belong to a group created by him called Diaspora, where we have people from across the world, something that Jade spoke about. And it really changed. It was a paradigm shift for me, let's put it that way, to see our Goans in Goa across the world doing very, very well. And I have mentors. Thanks to this group, I now have mentors who have really helped me, whether it's photography or whether it's writing or it's life skills. I actually have people from across the world bringing in their knowledge and experience, and I would like the same for our youths, where our diaspora who love Goa and miss Goa and want to do something, somehow we connect them. As Jade said, again, I go back to what Jade said. She said, if we could see representation of Goans in institutes across India, but why not just in other domains or different spheres of life? So, again, the connect between the two, as Father Nigel just said, maybe we could have these people do little talks that our youths interested in that certain sector or domain attend. And like Clive, like Lynn, like even Frederick, I see opportunities in Goa. How do we create these opportunities? How do we get our youth to live in Goa and do well? As Jade said, sometimes you have to balance it. You don't get everything. Why not? So, as Lynn has typed out, she said we offer certain skills, and I think that's the way forward. Entrance exams, again, as Jade said. So, creating these opportunities, which I think, but maybe we can discuss this for our next session in Jan. Maybe this could be our first topic, and interestingly, it's the first year on our list. Uh, so we'll get back to you on this, but I see a lot of scope over here. But we have one more person. We have Vernon, and before I hand over the mic to Vernon, I found him very interesting when I interacted with him. He had a lot of questions about what we are, what we do, how is it going to benefit, what's the way forward. So, Vernon, it's an honor having you here as part of our team, like everyone else. And over to you. Let's hear you and what you have to say.
Y'all can hear me?
Very well, loud and clear.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm a little late. I was facing some problems entering in. Um, First of all, when I got a call, sorry, I received a message firstly saying there's going to be a brainstorming session. I was pretty confused and I didn't know what exactly to say. because I'm not based in Goa, and it's been many years that I've not visited Goa at all. Uh, so I exactly don't know if I fit into the group. I don't know if I can contribute anything. But yeah, I'll give my 2 cents anyways. Sorry, I couldn't hear the initial points that some of the group members had to say, but I really don't have an idea on what the youth can do or what the youth cannot do. But I certainly want to inform you that there needs to be a mindset change, because this is what I have faced being in an uh, academic institute and all these places for years. It somehow blocks our creativity. It somehow blocks um, a process on how exactly we should think about jobs and other financial avenues, because what I went through is the same, because my father, especially my parents, used to frequently tell me that get yourself an education and then get yourself a job. And this used to always be emphasized all the time, that job. And when I took my first job, I really didn't like it, and when I took my second, I didn't like it. I didn't like the process went on, because I felt kind of trapped in it. And this is what I feel with other most of my friends and my colleagues and my batchmates in college and school, where they get trapped into this environment of job seeking, because academy also prepares us only to be like factory workers, like only to be workers all the time. So the mindset that I'm trying to not impose, but I want to get in is where you don't look for jobs, but you create jobs if possible. You try to find ways in which you enjoy doing something, and then probably that can be turned into an avenue. Uh, it, it could be anything. It could start with anything, because it is not only restricted to Goa but India as a whole, where people usually look for jobs. It's not the other way around. uh, so some of the points that I don't really want to I don't want to be an academic basher or something like that, but I do want to mention a few points that I've written.
Yes, go ahead, certainly.
I'm sorry if this is going to be a monologue of sort, but I just want to put it across. Okay.
All right.
Okay. This is what I've written. Okay, school, college, university education is just an education. It's we who have related it to providing jobs and work. It's not the responsibility or duty of education to provide jobs or work. Its only function is to provide a piece of paper called certificate or degree, and if you're fortunate enough, then probably knowledge and education. But its primary goal is to provide education and knowledge. But we keep asking for more. Certain things that I want to emphasize is this: the main source of creating avenue or any form is our society is filled with problems. Okay, they can they, there are many problems in our society, where if we find a solution to them, that can be a source of avenue. I'll give you a couple of examples. There were always restaurants around, and there were always people around. And then came Swiggy and Zomato, and
Okay.
in the places where I am, it's Tabalda, which sorry, I'm based in the Gulf, in Kuwait. So the solution was to combine both of these people. There were there were always buses and trains and flight service, but then you had your IB Go, and you have your Skyscanner, and you have your in India Google Go IB Go, and all of them. They became a platform to bring these two people together. So in this way, there are millions of problems across in India, in Goa, in other places, where if you can find a solution, it could be a temporary solution or whatever, but it could always turn into a source of avenue. uh, I Okay, just something personal. I recently my mom passed away. It's today is exactly like 3 months that she passed away. She was diagnosed with cancer, and cancer diseases have always been there. Doctors have always been there. Hospitals have always been there, and I know there's no cure for cancer right now. I mean, they say usually when you don't have a strong cure for it, you'll have 100 cures in the market. You'll have
Mm.
all kinds of medicines coming out, and saying this is cure, that is cure, till the time you get it. So there have always been doctors, there have always been patients. There isn't a platform to encourage where people can be diagnosed early, because there's nothing better than that. There have always been schools, there have always been students, and then you have your U Academy and your other things combining and bringing platform. So just to end, I'll keep it as short. Just to end, I just want to say, don't fear fire, because let us take a scenario of our ancestors who first saw fire, and if they had been scared of it, then we would have never been in the 21st century. And I want to tell, technology is the fire of the 21st century. So try to understand technology. I mean, if you fail to understand, technology can be used to live life in a better way. And we should use technology, because this is a new platform. You don't have to sit across and keep scrolling your Instagram reels and your YouTube reels, and looking at your friends if they are buying posh cars and other things and all, because you spend your entire life doing that. You can use the platform for wonderful things. Videos, posts, these are generating, these are helping people out. Whether someone is going through hunger, whether someone is going through something else, the technology medium can be used. Another thing that I want to emphasize is falling in the trap of education. I have nothing against education, but it does not promote creativity or critical thinking. The only way to deal with this is to become a self learner. You want to learn a new course, do it. Pursue things outside of the classroom. Do what interests you. I mean, if you're going to be restricted to school, you'll always be there. Another thing is that don't restrict yourself to high paying jobs. I mean, you can literally, I mean, it's a trap. Once it is just paycheck to paycheck, or bank deposit to bank deposit, where high money keeps you rolling. I mean, you're just on that road like the hamster keeps running around. So all I want to tell is, high paying jobs of today didn't even exist 5 years ago. The only way to progress is to not settle. Please don't settle. Keep advancing your skills and your goals, and use the social media to its maximum benefit. Don't be a product of the social media. Use it as a tool effectively. And my final thing is, losing focus. Please don't lose focus. Don't be a product of the device. Don't let the device control you, but rather use it. And this is my 2 cents. That's it. Sorry
All
for.
right. In fact, I've written many things, and I hope you know I'm a teacher, so I am going to push you a little bit more and get you thinking also about what you said about. I'm going to take this point with you: innovation, thinking out of the box. How can we get our Goan youth or youth in general to innovate, to think out of the box? So that's not something you have to answer right now, but that's for you, and we will have a session on it in the future. All right. But for you, get back to me when you're ready. How can we get youth to innovate, to think out of the box, to come up with ideas, to look around and see things? There'll be many, many, many things that you could list out. List them all out. There's no right, there's no wrong when it comes to brainstorming.
Thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you very, very much. All right. And yes. So in this session, there's no right or wrong. Everyone is justified in their opinions. We have Jelton with us. Hi, Jelton. Thank you for joining us. And we have someone called Jesuit. So I'm assuming that's someone from Jesuit House. Welcome. Nice to have you. Jelton, can you hear us? Jelton, can you hear us? All right. So that is Father Mervin. Hello, Father Mervin. Lovely to have you on board. Um, So I'm just going to show you some of the questions that we've just discussed. Some of the topics for future sessions. that we've just discussed, and it's been quite interesting the past 40 minutes. A lot of the youth spoke about creating opportunities in Goa by offering skills, by training our youth, whereby they don't have to leave Goa but can stay back and, as Vernon just said, think out of the box, innovate, and create something different. So, this entire thing about opportunities where we can live in Goa without having to compromise. Second thing by one of our youth was conservation of Goa's heritage, a very vast topic which we can then further divide, but Goa's heritage and culture and traditions in general. Um, Learning, so not just conserving but also learning about them, that's something that the youth would like more accessibility at. For example, festivals, we'll discuss this at that session. One of the youth spoke about the role of traditional Goan music, where she spoke about the mandos, the fados, the typical Konkani songs that we sing at weddings, at funerals, that tells so much about our own culture. So a little more, and again, that goes with point number three, but it's a separate point on its own, music. Another youth spoke about having reputed centers where you can have entrance exams. Now, CLC offers training for IAS, and I think that's brilliant for our civil services. I think that's what you'll offer. It's an amazing thing, but the youth want more. They want other entrance exams as well. The girl who spoke was a lawyer, and she just said how she had to do it on her own. Same with her friends who are MBA students. They had to work on these entrance exams alone. They had to leave Goa to go to other places just to do these coaching classes. So if we could have this in Goa, they don't have to leave. They stay here at home, they prepare. So that's a lack, a void that she identified. Career options and guidance, again, something similar to what Vernon just spoke about, where the youth can see that there's much more out there. So sometimes they don't even know what are the possibilities. Father Nigel had a nice suggestion where our, um, our we have people in that domain who speaks about their experience, their growth, and the future growth in that area. Uh, Again, there is something on networking and representation of Goans in institutes in organizations across India, across the world. So we have diaspora that's spread across the world in India, and it helps our youth who are in a certain field. Like the girl who spoke is a lawyer in training. So when she gets networked with lawyers from the Goan community, that helps her in various ways. She spoke about addiction, nicotine, vaping, which has become a current trend among youth, environmental issues, introduction to financial planning, especially for youth. Frederick spoke about youth movements like ICUF, which are not necessarily religiously driven, but do a lot of work. And he spoke about how a lot of the people who have done a lot in their lives can trace it back to when they were student volunteers at associations like ICAF. A role of diaspora, Father Nigel had a very valid point. He said we need to have more brainstorming sessions like this where the youth themselves speak about things. And the last 3 points is by Vernon, where again he spoke about the mindset where parents think that this is the only options available for a career choice for jobs, when he believes that if you innovate, if you think out of the box, if you know how to critically learn and brainstorm, you can actually come up with so much more. And he speaks about using social media productively. So these are some of the things that we've discussed till now. And possibly, Father Mervyn, if you would like, because you do work a lot with our youth, so is there something that you have identified? Hi, we can't hear you. You're on mute. So while we can
Yeah.
see you, yes, perfect.
Yes. Yes. No, I had gone for a job. They had a program for 3 days. No, so over there many of them were in the hotel, those hotel industries.
Correct.
There was a lot of demand for jobs. I
All
felt
right.
many of them were standing in that line. So what I personally felt like, no, the youth may be planning to earn,
Correct.
Yeah, that is their main idea. Like the intellectual thing may not be the main thing. Like to earn, to get money, to fulfill their dreams, their family, uh, to settle things. I think those are quite, they are a priority for many of the youth. Not like the those most of the youth. Like I for my little understanding, I feel that is their priority. Also, I feel like no, the exposure for the youth, like be in Penjim, in Saligaon, may be different for them from those who are there in the villages. Like if there are in the villages now, if there is in Saligaon or Pilen, they have programs like about the culture of Goa. Like they had different programs, like we have of the books, which are not these opportunities are not available for the youth who are there in the villages, maybe. So I feel like some similar programs, if we can do it, like no going to the villages, like few villages we identify and have it, like no to build that intellectual atmosphere, which is not there. Like many, some of them, say around 20-25% maybe in the lawyers line or like CAs, but the other, like the majority of them, they are looking for jobs, as well as like we have to, I feel we have to build that opportunities for them, like not to have that, to continuously learn. Like this is what I feel, Shamika.
Yes, Father. And when you say learning opportunities, what exactly would you mean? Because this has
Yeah,
come. Huh. So are
yeah.
we
So
talking
what I
about
would
life
say, yeah,
skills? Are
I
we
would say
talking
like
about?
how, yeah, like how the music they have put, like if we can take them, like no those who are there in the cities, if we can give the village people, like no some of them opportunities, like they may not come to the cities, they will come for work, they will come for other things, but like no many of them are talented, like no many of them are talented, but they have a little exposure, like compared to, like especially when I see Goa compared to other states, like other states they are training for IAS right from their school. Like
Correct.
in Goa, many of the youth may not even, like school or the youth people may not be aware of this.
Correct.
Only because we have not shown them. I
Yes.
feel it is our, like no those who have got the opportunities to study, they have not gone back and given. This is what,
Correct.
it is not their mistake. Like no, and to help them to see, like they, because I feel they are talented. Like no, we have had youth programs in say Kandoli, Arpora. People are, youth are talented, and they have done well. But to take them to another level, I feel especially those who are like no, be the journalists or those who are lawyers, like giving them exposure in schools, in colleges, like that, that is need to be done. Like this is what I feel, Shamika.
Father, you're spot on because two of our youth have already asked for this. They're saying we want this, we want exposure to the. We don't know when it comes to choosing our careers. Two of them already discussed it. So, Father, I think
Yeah.
even with your experience, if you're saying this, I think this is an important topic also to certainly that we'll discuss in future sessions. So,
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Father, for your ideas. And
Yeah.
Frederick
Thank you.
and Father Nigel. Is there anything else? Because I think we've spoken to all our youths who have kindly come here today. Is there anything else? I see Lynn might have some more ideas for us, possibly. Otherwise, Frederick and Father Nigel, over to y'all.
Very briefly, Shamika, very briefly.
Yes,
Uh, See, we have to realize that there are diverse points of view, diverse interests, diverse approaches, and
correct,
that's not bad.
correct.
That's not a bad thing. That's fine. We can
That's
live with
good.
it. Yeah, it's a good thing. Like for example, what Vernon is saying is directly conflicting with, it's a tug of war with what Father Mervyn is saying, and I think there's space for everyone there. So while Vernon is warning us that be careful of getting sucked into this career thing too much. Like so, that's a valid point of view. So at the end of the day, I guess we'll have to learn to cope with the different interests, and that's the challenge, which is interesting. Thank you. Yes,
Good. Vernon's also, yeah, true. And Vernon's also asking about having more opportunities to check, for you to see what they could do. So while Father Mervin's going to offer learning opportunities, maybe a child like Vernon will attend one of this and say, okay, this is my interest. This is something I'd like to pursue. And then we have some of our diaspora who are speaking, and then they can connect, ask more questions, learn further. So really, Frederick, I think when we brainstorm, we are going to have a lot of different opinions and ideas, and take it forward from there. Connect them, take it forward. Our next session would be in Jan. Father Nigel, Frederick, our next session would be in Jan.
Yes, Shamika, yeah.
Correct, correct. And going forward, we'll get more youth involved. In fact, here's what I see: I'd like our adults, our non-youth, to send in their topics, and we'll get more youth involved. And we'll have a list that we can then group together and see what our youth as well as our regular Goans would like for our youth. So that is it for today. We no, it's not done for today. We have Sylvia who's come. So Sylvia has joined us late, but great, nice to have her on board. Hi Sylvia, are you there?
Hi.
Great. Hi, nice to see you, and we were waiting for you.
Oh, sorry, I'm
No, not
late.
at all. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, could you tell us something more about you, Sylvia, and the topics that you've chosen and why? So, we have a list of very interesting topics that I will send to all of us on this meeting, because you all become the founding youth and we create a WhatsApp group going forward. So, we discuss about the next events. But over to you, Sylvia. Tell us something more about you and your topics and why you chose them.
Yeah, so my name is Sylvia Lewis, and I am from Vasco. I'm 18 now, and I am studying psychology, first year psychology in Chopre College. And yeah, some of the topics I thought of, my sister and I thought of, were first the how the youth face problems with transportation.
All right.
Even for me, like I came home really late today
Correct.
was because there weren't any buses,
Correct.
and it's very infrequent,
Yes.
especially from Margao and to Vasco.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, that was one thing I chose. Another was the salary of the jobs that a lot of jobs in Goa, it doesn't justify the cost of education, like the amount that we put into education. Yeah, especially high end. So people put in a lot of money for their masters and their bachelor's degrees. They do engineering and everything, but still the jobs that they get, the salaries are not that high. Yeah.
Great. All right. All right, Sylvia. Thank you very, very much. First of all, I know you have exams.
Yeah.
So, and I like that you brainstormed with your sister. That's exactly what we'd like, where we get more youth involved. So, what you could also do in the future for future sessions, get your friends, get all of them, and together we discuss many things. I'm going to read out what Frederick has been typing in the chat. He said, our youth are a talented lot, and each one has different goals and interests. The challenge is to work things out. Questions that are raised were very critical, and he says, world is full of different types of people. There's no right or wrong answers or approaches. Each has its own worth. And also, I quote Frederick. He says, someone said, reasonable people change according to the demands of the world. Therefore, all progress depends on unreasonable people. And he ends by saying lots of important issues were raised here. Many are very relevant, very important to see the world from the eyes of young people. Thank you, everyone who joined us, all the youth, all your suggestions. Thank you very much. And hope to see you for future sessions. Father Nigel, Frederick. Oh, Vernon would like to say something. Great. This is the thing about brainstorming. Go ahead, Vernon. What would you like to say?
Uh, no, can you hear me? Can you all
I
hear
can
me?
hear you very well.
I just want to extend the point that Sylvia, if I'm right, yeah, Sylvia was mentioning
Sylvia.
about jobs and salaries are never enough. That will always be the case, and that is why I wanted to emphasize. No, it's always the case. Uh, uh, Unless and until if you have the sense of enough, like when you have a sense of enough, that's when you feel sometimes, okay, fine, I don't need something more than this. But mostly as humans, greed always comes in between. It might be a minute form of greed. So all I wanted, jobs are good, but all I want to mention is that a job is not a permanent place to be. It definitely is a temporary place where you can enhance and grow, but I'm sorry if I'm conflicting with many of the ideas, but I would like to mention to the youth, and to even the younger generation and generation going to come further on, that if you are going to be stuck in a job forever, then it'll be paycheck to paycheck. So I just wanted to extend Sylvia's point, is that it's always going to be there. So the only possible way is to create it, is to be in a mindset of creating jobs. Even if you don't create, not a big issue, but if you can be in that mindset of creating,
Correct.
even if you don't create, it's not an issue. That's all.
So, so Frederick wrote what you were, what basically says you have a point, Vernon, about doing things on our own. So that's what Vernon has been saying. Don't live from job to job, paycheck to paycheck, but create your own job. So that's what he's been talking about. Sylvia, next session, I hope to see you and your sister, maybe sitting side by side, different devices, but bring her, bring your friends. Great. So,
Just wanted to add to Frederick's point.
yes.
It's not only Goa low paying. I mean, it's across India. It's across countries. Even in people in America, where they get minimum $15 per hour, they still find it low, and that will always be the case. Sylvia was saying that she had some bus problems today, right?
Yeah, transportation problems. So
Uh,
Sylvia is a student of mine, and very often, poor child, was in the bus and she's listening to French class because of this transportational problem. So what do you say, Vern, about it?
yeah, so I'm saying there is a problem, and if people can find solution to the problem, probably temporary cycling around, like how they do it in Netherlands and all, where they I know it's complicated, but any ideas? Goa faces a lot of transport problem. I know because I've been there, and solutions to that can be excellent in any form. They're doing this in Delhi, where they're renting cycles around, and the cycles are tracked from one point to another point, so you can drop at another point, and then you can carry on, do your thing, and that's what they're doing. So innovation is something Goa could, Kerala could. I mean, Kerala is a place. I mean, I'm surrounded with Malayalis all around. High respect for them. They having a beautiful state, extremely employable in Gulf, in Dubai, and all these places. But even they are saying we don't have jobs in Kerala and all these parts. But it's always going to be there till the time you can innovate and create. That's all.
Vern, just an observation. I think you're already coming up with some what's lacking in Goa and possible solutions. So I can already see you innovating as you're discussing.
All the youth of Goa can come up with solution. I know that every human can come up with solution.
And that's exactly what we plan to achieve in all our future sessions. So, for example, our next session, as a lot of us spoke about, is opportunities. And I think Frederick might say to what is the word I'm looking for? To maybe get it more focused, but opportunities, and we'd like to hear from y'all. What would opportunities mean? Of course, I think we could fine tune it. Yes, that's the word. We could fine tune this broad word, opportunities in Goa. What does it mean to each of you? So yes, get ready. Put your thinking hats on for next session. Enjoy your Christmas break. Enjoy the holidays, and until next time. All right. That
Thank you,
is.
Shamika. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Father Nigel. Thank you, Frederick. Anyone else wants to add anything? Innovation in transport can create millions, if not billions. All right, that
It
is
could be
what.
jobs or rupees or dollars or whatever.
Oh, whatever. Dirhams. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us from
Thank you.
Kuwait.
Thank you for the session. Thank you for your time.
There's Lynn, who's still here. She says, "Thank you for organizing." Lynn, thank you for attending the session. Thank you very much. It can happen only when our youth attend. So thanks to each and every one of you, in spite of having your busy schedules and so many things that happen. Thank you for coming. on board.
Thank you for your time and thank you for the
Thank you.
the initiative. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Father Nigel. Thank you, Frederick.
Thank you. Thank you, Shamika.